Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone who is listening and waiting for the next Wasteless World Talks with Kevin and Bill and myself. Today we have a special topic, or there are two topics in one. It's the beauty of efficiency and the efficiency of beauty. And of course, because we use two terms in both of this, so my first question is, what is in front of your eyes when you hear the word beauty? Let's go for beauty first.
Well, of course, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder.
Okay, so, and you, Kevin?
Yeah, things that are unusual.
That's interesting because even Wikipedia has its own definition of beauty. I will not open it right now, but it is there. I have it up before. And what you see when we speak about efficiency. So we can start with Kevin this time.
Efficiency, a lack of emotion.
That's interesting.
Lack of emotion. We'll have to think about that. That's good. Efficiency is the opposite of waste, isn't it?
In many aspects, yes.
Very fascinating topic, because in the book on our wasteless world, this is the issue that we're trying to apply to several industries or several activities, human activities. What can we calculate the waste that is in the healthcare industry, for example? And in a large part, waste is the lack of efficiency, but there are several problems with that, and one is efficiency is in the eyes of the beholder just as beauty is, and what may seem efficient to you may not be efficient to someone else. And the other thing is, what is efficiency? Is it movement, precise movement with no wasted movement? Same for the thought process. So for example, if I sit here for 10 minutes and play a computer game on my cell phone, is that the lack of efficiency? Maybe that's the time when my brain relaxes and goes to a different level. So is that waste or a lack of efficiency? What do you think?
Maybe we will find out. The reason why I came with this topic was generally because last week, after our last session, I saw somebody posted very nice packaging. You know, so I like the packaging. It was a plastic box, but it was very small details and very efficient, because if you will use these boxes, they generally connect one box to the other with a simple way. So you don't need the stretch foil anymore. You don't need to fix the cargo. That was really great. So, and I said to me, that's beautiful. And even the comment there, it's a beautiful package. So for me, the efficiency was the emotion. And few minutes later, they came to me a video of some model who generally put on her to be beautiful. So a lot of stuff. She said she spent 2 hours to make it, and then they make 5-minute shoots, and then she has to again spend 2 hours. And at the time I said, so wow, the efficiency of beauty, shipping all the stuff, delivering her to one location where she takes 5 minutes pictures but spend 1 hour on the way. There is generally such a lack of efficiency in all the process that the beauty is completely inefficient. And this is how it came to my mind. So I combine it and put it put it together. But very interesting about the emotion, Kevin, because I really, for me, it was the emotional moment when I saw that's great efficiency of the packaging. Completely opposite. So it was nice.
It's that the one thing you both touched on is that efficiency isn't one act, it is a process. And I think that's really, that's where it can become, when you're talking about a process, it can become quite emotionless, both in nature and in man's activities. Once you're into a process, you become trapped in a process. You have to march down this process. And that's where the emotionless can creep in.
I just show you what made me so emotional. These are the boxes, and these black stuff, they connect one to another. That's really great. So a simple touch, but it generally can save a lot of waste in the single-use transport. So they are really interesting. And I was thinking for a long time about something similar, and they came with it. They are German producers. So I just want to show to the people that I'm really crazy, that I like gray boxes and think they are beautiful.
When you talk about boxes, there are some very efficient, very beautiful boxes. I'm not sure how efficient. For example, my cell phone came in a box, a white box. It fit together very nicely. It had a little pull-out tab at the top. It had little compartments for the manual. It was very efficiently put together, but it's not efficient because what do I do with that box? I end up throwing the box away. It sat here on my desk because I felt the emotion of the beauty and the efficiency of that box. But after a while, it just took up space on my desk, so I ended up throwing it away.
And it will be so easy to make one more fold and use it as a stand for your mobile phone. It will be so easy. But they did not thought about it. I saw similar packaging for shoes, which turned generally for storage for shoes. Very clever design. But in the mobile, it's really so simple. And we spoke about it. It was your idea that on every packaging should be such a simple manual what to do. That was great idea, Bill.
You have a good memory. That's just what I was thinking about. And in fact, one of the areas of waste that we could write a book about is Amazon. So I receive a box bigger than a shoebox, and in it is a bottle of vitamins that I ordered, wrapped in bubbles, and then put in a box that is at least 10 times bigger, right? So there's the waste, the tremendous waste. I walk along the beach. I see soggy Amazon boxes. I don't know where they come from. Does somebody open up a box and throw it into the, I don't know. So there's a whole chapter on Amazon waste. But Amazon knows this because I received a box last week, an Amazon box last week, and on the outside of the box, it said, after receiving this, you can use the box for, and then it had like 6 bullet points, including a kid's castle. And so they had thought through that. They know their packaging is waste, and they've thought through it, and somehow they adopted my idea of having the repurposing printed in the design materials.
I just came to it and then I let you speak, Kevin, but generally there is a quite an interesting story, you know, in Czech Republic and in Europe in general, I think you have to pay, if you are the company who deliver in boxes, you pay for the box. So it's an additional fee you pay to organization. In Germany it's Greenpunkt, with us it's called Ecocom and so on. And you pay some fee generally which should be used for the proper recycling or collecting or something like that. Usually it's not, but it doesn't matter. And it's, if you are a small producer, you pay a few crowns, so it's few cents. But if you are a big one like Lego, the producer of the stones for the children, there are millions and tens of millions pieces. And you know what Lego did? And I came to this information, it was during after one event generally. They said, we are not selling in a box. We are selling in a storage. No, it seems to be good. On the other hand, they give their hands away. Their packaging style was one of the worst which I've seen, exactly as you describe it. Small, few stones in a big box because the big box is selling. So I was disappointed they used exactly this strategy, because then they say, sorry, it's not our fault, it's your fault if you scrap it. So they use it, they learn quite fast to use the good ideas in their own profit and to look better. But, you know, they should reduce the size of the box first and then write in a small letters that what you can do with it.
In Denmark, there's a very popular food delivery service, which is all ecological food. And then once a week, it'll send you 3 dishes to cook over the weekend. And they have this great system where it's delivered in a wooden box. And this wooden box must be reused. So you pay 10 krona extra for the box. So it is just like a return system. And then once you leave the box outside, that 10 krona will then be added onto your next bill, if you see what I mean. So you get the money returned, which I think is a brilliant system. It really is. And I think it's the government forced them to do it, of course. But we have the same for every tin of fizzy drink or every bottle of beer, tin of beer we buy. We pay a crown extra and then have to get our money back when we return the bottle or the tin.
When I was talking about this subject with my wife, who grew up in Minsk, they they did not have any packaging. So in their pocketbook or in their coat pocket, they always carried a mesh bag, because as you're walking down the street, you see there's a sale on eggs or there's a sale on something, and you don't have grocery bags. Those paper bags are now they're plastic bags. So everybody pulls out their own mesh bag from their purse. They also had soda dispensing machines with no glass. You brought your own, oh no, excuse me, one glass. So there was a glass to consume the soda, and then there was a little spout of water that you could rinse it, or that the next guy could rinse it, or whatever. I'm not sure how sanitary that is, but there was no packaging, is the point. Little or no packaging. And even when I was growing up in the 60s, we had the milk delivery man who came to our house early in the morning and put the milk in glass containers. Then when they were finished, we would put the empty ones back into the milk box outside on the porch, and he would bring us new milks and take the empty milks back. So there was very, very little packaging. I think packaging is probably, when did that come to be so important, the packaging?
I will tell you.
It's fairly recently, I think.
I do not know exactly the time, but I know the reason. The reason is that the stores stopped to buy according to the needs. Because the packaging today, the first question which you get, how long is the shelf life? it's not about the freshness, it's about the shelf life. So the water which you are buying up today can be filled 1 year ago, because the shelf life, it's 2 years. And I think this was the main and critical point in this development of this oversized, overestimated packaging, which has to hold it for, I don't know, milk for 30 days, you know, bread for whatever. And it does not taste good anymore. No, it does not change the taste so much. But on the other hand, this is one of the reasons. I know it because I was asked to help in development of a packaging for food for animals. So this animal snacks. So I came to the company, it's the biggest in the country generally. And I said, okay, so we will concentrate on the big 5 or 10 kilo. They said, no, that's not interesting for us. This is paper, that's fine, we are fine with it. We need, and they call it snacks. So small packaging for 1 bite of the animal, and every single one is packed separately in a plastic. So there I came for the first time with the edible packaging. So, you know, the animal will eat the snack and then it will smell good. So it will eat the rest, even the packaging, without any harm to them. So we have investigated, it exists already. So it's interesting.
So how did we get from efficiency and beauty to packaging? That's interesting, because in the when you have no packaging, you have far less beauty. There's less opportunity for pretty pictures or seductive words to make you reach onto the shelf and get that. But is packaging efficient? Not single bite packaging.
No.
It's the packaging is very inefficient frequently. So I do a lot of packaging projects, and they are trying to make it more efficient. You know, when we sold, for example, glasses, sunglasses, and reading glasses, and according to the law, and it's a European law generally, the size of the packaging must match as exact as possible the size of the product inside. Otherwise, you will go against some regulation, whatever. You know how difficult it was to pack the glasses? It's so the glass shape, it's not easy. And the standard package from China contained in 1 box, there is dozens, so 12 pieces. And it's really, they are stacked and you cannot put more there because they will break. And there came the control to us, and they try to control whether the Chinese send it the right way. You know, and what they did, they checked only the papers. They even didn't look at the box, they didn't look at the glasses, they just checked the papers. And generally, this is one of the issues why many marketing people consider that packaging is the way how to sell. But it's not true anymore. You know, I do remember the first time when my daughter get her Lego stones. She liked to play with Lego, same as me. And it was a huge, like this wheel in London, this big, I don't know how it's called, generally this.
It's a Ferris wheel.
Yeah. They call it the London Eye, and it was inside. So I opened it. It was a huge box. So she opened it at Christmas time. There was nothing inside. Few plastic bags, which I measure it, less than 5% of the content of the box. But Lego does not have to pay for the box because they sell in storage piece or in a storage box, not in packaging. So they don't care. And when I pointed out to Lego, so they sent their lawyers to me. So it was a funny story.
Actually, one thing about efficiency and beauty, in nature, it works both ways. So if you think of the beauty of a shark or killer whale or tiger, that they have everything is pared down for hunting, so it has this efficiency to achieve its task. then at the other end of the scale, you have a peacock, a male peacock, which certainly doesn't give the appearance of being that efficient. It's interesting that nature has decorative beauty and the beauty of function.
It's quite interesting that we came to this point, because one of the discussion which I have during the noontime was that generally we came to nature as well. We came to the fact that generally the efficiency, in a way how we understand it, is the same like with the time we discussed. So it was created by humans for a purpose which has nothing to do with efficiency at the end. It's generally mainly economical tool. Many people are wondering why the beverage producers start to use the plastic bottles and not a glass. Generally, it's not about ecology. If you buy bottles for the production of your drinks, you do not buy the bottle. You buy 5 centimeter big, so-called precast. It's 5 centimeter piece of plastic, which you put in a machine, and the machine blow during the production of the drink. They blow up directly in the same production line the bottle, but you buy this piece of plastic. So your cost on purchasing the material are much lower than anything else. And you cannot do the same with wood, aluminum, anything else. You can do it only with plastic. So this is why they push so much. It has nothing to do with ecology. It has nothing to do with anything else. The beverage producers who fill in plastic bottles, they are plastic bottles producers, nothing else.
It's interesting, in Copenhagen, in the old days, if you bought a bottle of Coke in a plastic bottle, you could see that this thing had been through the process maybe 5 or 10 times. But these, it was tough, hard plastic, and it had to be recyclable. But these days, when you return a plastic bottle, the machine crushes it instantly. And so, these are still just one use.
I know. So it's just a marketing term. There is nothing wrong with the bottle after drinking it once, and they can even clean it the same way. There are few companies who even produce a machinery to clean it, but they are not successful with this only one thing, because original bottle is this size, 5 centimeter big plastic piece called precast. So it's exactly the same like with the time. We name it efficient, but the very opposite is usually the result.
Yeah, in fact, it's the ugliness of efficiency.
Very good, Kevin. Ugliness of efficiency. Well, almost everything that you want to talk about in these sessions, there's a good point, a list of good things about it, and a list of bad things about it, which allows the oil companies, for example, to brag about their ecological green efforts. And so I guess it's the same way with the efficiency, that there are good things about efficiency and bad things about efficiency. It depends a little bit on how you measure efficiency. If you are a worker on an assembly line, you measure efficiency by how many widgets you process. But if you are striving to be happy, how do you measure that? Maybe it's by something that has something to do with how many widgets you produce, if you get to be the widget maker of the month. But it also has to be the happiness from within, from having reached perhaps a new level of understanding about different things, or learning a new task or something like that, which is not terribly efficient to the person who's counting widgets.
When we speak about nature, do we speak about efficiency in connection with nature? Usually we try to do things better to be more efficient in the nature. I think that we rarely speak about nature to be efficient, which is completely wrong, because it is efficient because it's utilize the existing resources. It does not need to buy. It use what it have, not what it get. So
I think that if the theory of evolution is true, then nature is brutally efficient, because only the successful will survive.
Well, there are a couple of different versions of that. Only the adaptable will survive.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Is nature efficient? Nature's beautiful. And where beauty equals efficiency, there's some connection there. Efficient. Examples of where nature is inefficient.
you will not find it.
Well, nature spends a lot of effort making a beautiful forest and then sends lightning to strike that forest and burn it down. How efficient was that?
Because it makes the biochar and soil and new forest will grow up. I was explained this by a guy who take care about forest in Canada. He said, generally the lighting usually does not set these big fires. They set the local fires, and the nature can generally somehow manage it. And then a new, how he call it, reborn forest came generally, and it's even stronger than the one before, where the trees has been already weak. So I think there is a very few things which are not efficient, if any, in nature.
It's interesting because I think nature is efficient, but it is also wasteful. It's wasteful to be as efficient as it is.
That's interesting approach. I will not call it wasteful, but I do understand what you mean.
Although it certainly recycles its wastes much better than we do.
Because it does not have to waste, you know.
Yeah.
For nature, it's not waste. I think that the efficiency came with the implementation. You know, if you have to use only what you have, you cannot buy anything. You must be very efficient. We talked once about this. Generally, I said to you when I went on the roots back to the history, that the people who built the pyramids and the castles which are here for 1,000 years, there has been more efficient than us, because they have only one try. If we are not successful in the Excel, we delete it, we try for a second time or so, but they have only one try. So they must be very efficient from this point of view. But what they did, they never expected, okay, I will order the next stone from Amazon. You know, it was not possible. So I think that it is the efficiency is in a root of humanity. But then came a time when we exchanged the efficiency for something which was not here, but we can buy it somewhere. And there came the moment, I think, where we reduced the efficiency levels in our life, because we can order. No, I break it, so I order a new one. And I order 10, not one, because I can break another 5, so I will have a spare. And then a spare and spare and warehouse and warehouse. And in my country, yesterday again, the industrial development, a company, German and Czech, says, we will build more warehouses in the country because we are so efficient. No, they do it because they will be profitable. It has nothing to do with efficiency. warehouse is a sign of lack of efficiency generally. And we are selling it as something which is efficient because Czech Republic will be the land of warehouses. Already now we have the biggest number of square meters of supermarkets in the whole Europe is in Czech Republic. It's horrible.
I don't know if you have in where you live, but in the U.S. we have storage buildings. So if you have too much junk in your basement, you can rent a 10 by 10 room or whatever. And generally, these are multi-stories, maybe 5 stories high, nothing but little rooms in there. And people pay $30 a month or however much they pay. And occasionally they stop paying, and then the people who own it reclaim everything that's in there. And there have been books written about the stuff that is in the reclaimed storage places. But to me, in my town, just within the last year, they've built 2 more, and it's such a sign of, what is it a sign of? It's not so much inefficiency, it's overconsumption. It's, and then you look at people on the street without a roof over their head, maybe without food, uh, and 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 yet some people have so much, and so many people have so little. So that's not efficient. So our society has surrounded itself with this overconsumption, this disposable society, the more attitude, bigger, bigger, bigger. My car is bigger than yours. Now, now we're in America, we're driving these SUVs that the front end of them are so high that you can't see children, pedestrians in front of you. So the percentage or the number of pedestrians who have been hurt in traffic has grown by a phenomenal number, simply because the drivers can't see, because somewhere in the back of their mind they say bigger is better, more, rather than saying what do I need, they say how much bigger can I get, because bigger is better. And I hope that that's coming to an end. I hope that that's modifying, but it's it's funny. The street that our condo is on here, right outside that window, on Friday nights and Saturday nights, people like to drive their big SUVs, and they modify the muffler so to make more noise. So the and somewhere in their mind it must be, I don't know if it's an act of intimidation. I haven't thought about it enough, but they love to make big noise, and our town does not have a noise ordinance. Uh, and so I think that that's similar to the more attitude, is louder, louder, louder. Uh, Not beautiful, not efficient.
It's interesting that in the West, we're happy to send all our waste to the third world, but
Yes.
not our secondhand furniture. Not anything that they can use. We send them all this stuff which makes our place look ugly. You can have all that electronic waste. You can't do anything with it, but we don't want it. But we don't send them the stuff that they could actually use.
Yeah, it is so. And when you spoke about the big cars, just before this event, I think today at noontime, the Guardian published an article that France, Paris, will increase the fees for parking and for general using of the infrastructure for SUVs. It is the first countries I know who will do that.
Then what's the discussion start? What is an SUV?
That's one of the exciting the future of exercises that we've done, is the future of cities, and the future of cities, and generally it's changing. Right now, Many of the cities are changing, and many more have plans to make it much more pedestrian friendly. Much fewer commuters coming in every morning. And New York City just announced that, I forget if it was 10 years from now, they will have removed 16,000 parking spaces in an effort to have the shops put chairs and take over part of the streets. In fact, I was down in New York City a couple of months ago, and one of the streets, I forget which one, is actually 5 lanes wide. And the one lane on either side has always been used for parking. So you have 3 lanes, and they've just taken 2 of those lanes, in some cases, all 3 lanes or 2 of the 3 lanes. So now there's 1 lane for vehicles, and the other lanes are for pedestrians and shops for the restaurants or tables out there, and the number of trees they've planted, and the goals that they've set up, such as having everything that you need in a day within a 15-minute walk. So your store, your doctor, your school, everything. So you no longer need the SUVs or the other vehicles. It's going to be interesting to see the state of cities in 10 years or 15 years.
And it'll be
So
interesting to see the effect that it has on architecture, because a lot of city centers are
yes,
dominated by roads, flyovers, and stuff like that. And
yes.
once they're repurposed, I mean, the cities should be hopefully much greener.
One of the things that they've come to realize is that as we put our interstates, our large roads and so on, that the designers 50 years ago had certain racial prejudices, because they would divide the poor part of town from the business and more affluent parts of town with a superhighway. And that kind of sets for all the future until they get rid of the highway. So it's really a checkered history that we have in so many different things, not just the laws and so on, but also in the architecture. And you're talking about the architecture. Think of how many things will not be used in 15 years or 20 years. Parking garages gone, no need, because there's no cars. There's the universities in our country, they say there will be 25% fewer colleges and campuses, because everybody's getting a certificate or an apprenticeship and so on. That's huge change. And so what do we do with these places? So the repurposing of institutions that we no longer have use for or have passed, a lot of changes.
So we are at the end. 1 more minute left. And I think we will continue one day. But for now, let me thank you for the great time. Let me wish everyone have a nice time free of waste and wasting in all its forms. Stay safe, free, and visible. And think about the future if you do anything. Because the beauty and efficiency can be found best in nature, not in our cities or not anywhere else, not in factories. So see you next time. Bye-bye.